What is occupational therapy? Many people often mistake occupational therapists as physical therapists or people who help other people get jobs. This is a wide misconception that occupational therapists have strived to correct for years in their attempts to explain their profession. According to the American Occupational Therapy Association, occupational therapists help people of all ages participate in the things they want and need to do through the therapeutic use of everyday activities or occupations. An occupation in this sense is not necessarily job-related, but refers to the activities people engage in on a daily basis that have meaning to them and occupy their time. This includes things people need to, want to, or are expected to do. OTs in the schools play a unique role in helping all students perform the best they can in their educational setting. This includes providing academic support, increasing social interactions with peers, promoting school routines, participating in recess, the classroom, and cafeteria time. Occupational therapists can help students meet the academic demands of teachers and the school day by providing simple strategies to help them perform to their best potential. The following laws specify the involvement of occupational therapy within schools. First, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA, and Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act. These laws were implemented to ensure that students are provided optimal support within the school setting. There are 6 guidelines within IDEA. First, all children have the right to a free and appropriate education. All children should receive this education as well as occupational therapy services within the least restrictive environment. This means students should be included with typically developing students in as many contexts as possible and appropriate. Once it is recognized that a child is having difficulty performing in school, teachers and other educational professionals conduct a multifactorial evaluation, or MFE, to determine a baseline and define areas that need to be addressed by the team. The MFE directly guides the education team in creating an individualized education plan, or IEP, for students who qualify. Parents and students attend the IEP meeting where they contribute to creating goals. Finally, the students' and their parents' rights are protected by the IEP since it is a legally binding document. Individual education plans, or IEPs, are written if a student requires additional related services or accommodations to access their educational environment and they have a diagnosis specified as covered in IDEA. All professionals write measurable goals that will be worked on throughout the school year with each discipline as listed on the IEP. The plan is developed in collaboration by the education team, which includes the family, the student, and the education team. The term related services refers to transportation, developmental, corrective, and other support services required to assist a child with a disability to benefit from special education. Occupational therapy, physical therapy, and speech-language pathology will be listed under related services. Occupational therapy is designated as a related service by Public Law 94-142, which guarantees a free, appropriate public education to each child with a disability. Therefore, it is important to focus on OT involvement in the IEP writing process. Services and accommodations specified in the IEP are legally binding and must be provided as described in the IEP. Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 and Title II of the Americans with Disabilities Act require schools that receive federal funding to provide students with disabilities access to public education. This does not require the student to be on an IEP receiving special education, but only that they have a documented disability or medical condition such as anxiety or diabetes that substantially limits one or more major life activities. This broader definition allows students who may not be IEP eligible to be 504 eligible for accommodations to access in the learning environment. One example includes allowing a student with anxiety to sit up front for minimal distractions, or allowing a student with diabetes to take a break to eat a snack. This slide provides specific examples of occupational therapy's scope of practice within the school setting. For example, academic tasks include handwriting and fine motor abilities, sensory processing, and social participation, while non-academic tasks include restroom, toileting and dressing, the cafeteria, which includes enjoying meal times and socializing with friends, recess, which includes promoting play and social participation. At the hallways and lockers, it requires transitioning from class to class, and finally, after school or extracurricular activities. Examples of overlapping academic and non-academic tasks include education, such as classroom learning activities or written communication, social participation, which includes appropriate interactions and making friends, activities of daily living, such as dressing before physical education classes, managing outerwear, eating in the lunchroom, and using the restroom, IADLs, which are instrumental activities of daily living, including counting money for lunch, cleaning after oneself, and riding the bus, play during recess, leisure, which includes participation in extracurricular activities, work, including the development of work skills such as cleaning, sorting papers, or giving change back in the lunch line, assistive technology, including tools to help enable the child to better engage or perform in everyday school occupations and to make the environment more accessible, and finally, mental health, which may include deep breathing and sensory breaks. In their scope of practice, occupational therapists address all areas of function related to both the academic and non-academic tasks that children need to be successful in the school environment and to be able to enjoy their school day. An OT's role in the school is to help children participate in academic and non-academic tasks by observing their function in various environments within the school setting. Occupational therapists are concerned with prevention, promotion, and intervention. For example, in terms of prevention and promotion regarding academic tasks, an occupational therapist may observe classroom performance of fine motor and handwriting skills, and then help the school identify appropriate curriculums or co-teaching programs to implement on behalf of the children. Occupational therapists address all levels of function, and their evaluations focus on areas of strength and weakness in all educationally relevant skills needed for academic and non-academic tasks. For example, academic tasks may include producing legible handwriting and using fine motor skills in the classroom, sensory processing abilities, and social participation, while non-academic tasks may include the ability to interact with peers and play appropriately, manage fasteners and demonstrate hygiene skills in the restroom, and manage their school books and their lock and locker, as well as travel independently in the hallways and safely within the entire school. These are some examples of how occupational therapists address the needs of children and youth and facilitate their ability to engage in the things they want and need to do within the school environment. The educational system uses a three-tiered model of service delivery. Occupational therapists can provide services to students in each tier. This pyramid model shows the distribution of students in each tier. Thanks to the national legislation discussed previously, the service delivery of occupational therapy greatly expanded, allowing occupational therapists to provide services to all students. The following slides will discuss in more detail each of the three tiers. Tier 1 focuses on the health promotion of all students and helping them learn how to become mentally healthy. It includes the universal instruction of all students and/or consultation with teachers and other school-based providers. It focuses on competence enhancement in all children and youth and building strength and resources in every child. For example, at Tier 1, occupational therapists can promote positive mental health at a school-wide universal level by implementing school-wide mental health programs such as the Comfortable Cafeteria, which will be discussed in a later slide, creating sensory-friendly environments, tuning into children's emotions and social interactions in general, and providing in-services for parents, teachers, and staff to promote mental health. Tier 2 focuses on prevention for children and youth at risk of mental health challenges. Its focus is to prevent the development of mental health challenges while promoting mental health and well-being. At-risk conditions may include physical disabilities, autism spectrum disorders, ADHD, obesity, poverty, and children who have experienced trauma. Programs or interventions at Tier 2 include creating small group interventions such as a lunch bunch to address bullying, where positive friendships are promoted, cognitive behavioral strategies, yoga and deep breathing, accommodations as listed under 504, activity-based programs, and participation in recreation and leisure activities. Tier 3 focuses on specific intervention strategies related to a student's unique needs. The aim is to diminish symptoms associated with mental illness and to promote positive mental health. At this level, collaborating with other relevant mental health providers and school personnel is encouraged to help the child function successfully throughout the school day. Providing ways to reduce stress, modifying routines, promoting the individual's interests are all supports for enhancing the child's participation in school. This slide provides specific examples. Tier 1 includes co-teaching programs, creating sensory-friendly environments, which are environments that are structured to promote and support a student's unique sensory needs across the vestibular, olfactory, gustatory, auditory, and visual systems. For example, an OT can provide environmental modifications such as warm lighting or a quiet corner for a student who may be easily overstimulated by visual or auditory input. Other examples include the comfortable cafeteria, hand-rating curriculums, environmental modifications, and social-emotional learning curriculums. At Tier 2, time management groups or social skills groups for students struggling with communication in the classroom are some examples that can be used. And at Tier 3, individualized handwriting programs, individualized sensory diets, and applied behavioral analysis can be used. Fine motor tasks are a complex process requiring the integration of many body systems, including visual, motor, sensory, and perceptual systems. It also requires small muscle development, good posture, hand-eye coordination, and the ability to hold utensils or manipulators. Handwriting is the most frequent referral for occupational therapists in the schools. It is estimated that 20% of primary school-age children in the U.S. suffer from fine motor difficulties. The overall role of occupational therapy in children's fine motor and handwriting development is to have them successfully participate in academic and non-academic environments. In academic environments, the OT may strive to improve fine motor skills and implement handwriting programs by co-teaching. For example, the occupational therapist may assist in the selection of appropriate handwriting curriculums, such as Handwriting Without Tears or the Right Start program targeted at first grade students. The occupational therapist may also provide modifications to equipment and tools to assist the students in developing the hand skills needed for success in the classroom. For example, placing a piece of foam between the child's pinky and ring finger may help a child keep his hands in a proper position while writing. In non-academic environments, the OT may strive to improve fine motor skills in order to help a child successfully use a lock on a locker or be able to help a child eat lunch without making a mess. Children with fine motor coordination problems experience a wide range of functional difficulties at school, including writing, organizing workspaces, using lockers, flipping pages, holding a paintbrush, and manipulating clothing for bathroom use. Some simple strategies to help improve fine motor coordination include the implementation of pencil grips, vertical surfaces, and wider writing utensils. A child's inability to master good handwriting skills could indicate a more serious problem such as developmental or learning disabilities. Therefore, we encourage you to seek out an occupational therapist for more information and collaboration in this regard. Occupational therapists have a strong background in understanding sensory processing, which includes 3 major categories: sensory modulation disorder, sensory discrimination disorder, and sensory-based motor disorder. Sensory modulation includes the recognition of where and what is touching you. There are 3 types of responses, including overmodulation, undermodulation, and fluctuating. Sensory discrimination includes poor stereognosis, or poor attention to what the input is, and sensory-based motor disorders include 2 types. The first is dyspraxia, which means difficulty with motor planning, and the second includes postural disorders, which may lead to difficulties in bilateral integration and sequencing. All of that means that some children's sensory processing systems will develop atypically, resulting in challenges of one or more senses, which can lead to challenges within the classroom. Problems with sensory processing are often apparent in a child's behavior, social interactions, academic performance, and motor coordination. Occupational therapists identify and address these difficulties by utilizing assessment tools to understand the child's response to incoming stimuli and to determine interventions that can be implemented to improve the student's engagement in the school environment. Occupational therapists and teachers can collaborate to provide sensory-friendly environments for children to thrive. Occupational therapists address problems with sensory processing integration by identifying and modifying sensory and environmental barriers that are limiting participation and performance in everyday activities that a child needs and wants to do within the school setting. For example, we can assess a child's sensory integration difficulties that affect their participation in all school settings, including the classroom, recess, lunch, hallways, and any other relevant settings. We can also assess the child's response to sensory stimuli and help the child recognize the impact of sensory and motor factors on everyday activities and provide strategies for accommodating their own sensory preferences. We utilize information and observations from teachers and parents during assessments, which may also be beneficial for planning strategies. Finally, we can plan and provide interventions to improve participation and engagement in school. This may include teaching and modeling activities to support sensory needs, and identifying and providing adaptive sensory strategies and interventions using a variety of sensory approaches to facilitate full participation in the school setting. Assistive technology, or AT, according to IDEA, is equipment that is purchased, tailored, and specifically designed to help children with disabilities be able to better access their environment. Assistive technology is essential in providing students with disabilities better access in the school environment and increased participation in the classroom academically. Occupational therapists in the school setting focus on using assistive technology as a tool to enable the child to better engage or perform in everyday school occupations, such as writing, playing, or participating in social activities, and to make the environment more accessible. For instance, to help a student who has difficulty with reading and writing tasks due to a lack of mobility in his arms, an occupational therapist can help with the selection and implementation of a word processor with word prediction software to increase ease of performance during writing tasks. For a student who may have visual impairments, adapted books can be introduced into the classroom that may make the book easier to use or the text in the book easier to read or remember for students with disabilities. Specific accommodations for modifying the text to the unique needs of each student include changing font size or color contrast, magnifying the print, or using auditory output. These are just a few examples of how occupational therapists can introduce technology to help children and youth participate in the things they need and want to do within the school environment.
Mental health is a state of successful performance of mental function resulting in productive activities, fulfilling relationships with other people, and the ability to adapt to change and to cope with adversity. It involves feeling good emotionally, coping with challenges, doing well physically, and socially participating in various environments. Individuals who are mentally healthy demonstrate better degrees of everyday functioning. When students struggle, fall behind, or experience high levels of frustration, their mental health suffers, affecting their ability to perform in school. More often than not, when people think of mental health, they often think about the negative aspects such as mental illness. Mental health and mental illness are different states of functioning. Occupational therapists are able to provide interventions for developing positive mental health and to help reduce symptoms of mental illness. They have a strong background in positive mental health and in understanding the signs and symptoms for mental illness. They are able to tune into a student's emotional well-being, interactions with others, and their ability to cope. Challenges of the school day can become too overwhelming or frustrating for students, making anxiety a common type of mental illness in the schools. Occupational therapists can help students learn new coping mechanisms through various intervention strategies that will keep their anxiety levels to a minimum. Supports and accommodations can be made in collaboration with the teacher, occupational therapist, and student, such as exploring calming activities like yoga and deep breathing, breaking activities down into manageable tasks with a time frame, and exploring meaningful physical activities. Other common diagnoses for students with mental illness who may benefit from occupational therapy services include mood disorders, depression, behavior disorders, attention deficit disorder, and autism spectrum disorders. Occupational therapists can help students with or without an IEP for a mental illness diagnosis perform their best in the classroom. School-wide intervention strategies that promote positive mental health include social-emotional learning, positive behavioral interventions and supports, and zones of regulation. Zones of regulation is an approach used to teach students self-regulation so they can independently and successfully control and manage their emotions and sensory needs as well as problem solve. Some other simple interventions to promote mental health that teachers can implement in their classrooms include deep breathing exercises, sensory breaks, and yoga.
Every Moment Counts, promoting mental health throughout the day, is a mental health promotion initiative with model programs and strategies to promote mental health throughout the day in both academic and non-academic tasks. It was developed to help all children and youth become mentally healthy so they can be successful in school, at home, and in the community. For a more thorough understanding of this program, which is funded by the Ohio Department of Education Office of Exceptional Education, please visit the website listed on this slide. On the website, check out the Embedded Strategies tab to see how you can utilize such strategies throughout the school day in academic settings such as the classroom and non-academic settings such as recess and the cafeteria to help all children and youth. Social participation and positive mental health are two important aspects that occupational therapists address in school settings in each of the areas of practice described previously. The Comfortable Cafeteria is one program that is part of the Every Moment Counts, Promoting Mental Health Throughout the Day initiative. This program targets a non-academic setting within the school environment and is designed to create a positive environment in the cafeteria by providing the cafeteria staff and students with the foundational knowledge, skills, and resources needed to facilitate a positive cafeteria environment throughout the school year. Visit the website above to see how these strategies can be embedded throughout the school day to help children and youth experience positive mental health experiences. See the tabs describing the program and the free and downloadable resources, which include PowerPoint presentations, posters, bookmarks, and weekly lesson plans. Also, look for the Refreshing Recess program, which is another program that is part of this initiative and targets an additional non-academic setting within the school environment. As Case Smith and Holland stated, to achieve an integrated, inclusive practice model, the adults who interact with the child must share the same goals, agree on the methods of interaction, and agree to a set of priorities. Collaboration between occupational therapists and teachers is essential for successful interventions and engagement of the child in their role as a student. There are multiple ways occupational therapists can work with teachers. Some ways can be providing embedded programs or strategies to help children function. One example is the Right Start program, which is for first grade students to help them learn handwriting in the classroom. The program consists of small group activities which focus on visual motor integration, fine motor skills, and cognitive skills needed for successful writing. This program fosters peer support and evaluation where all students receive instructions for the group. The program also promotes self-regulation and was developed based on evidence-based strategies. Furthermore, the program promotes a co-teaching style between the occupational therapist and the teacher. By increasing awareness, collaboration, and the expertise of multiple disciplines, effective support and implementation can be provided throughout the three-tier model. Collaborating as a team can help in early identification of any struggles or issues that could affect performance of daily activities, academic skills, self-care, and social participation. Collaboration can lead to more effective school-wide prevention efforts and the creation of positive environments to support positive mental health. The following suggested resources are helpful for understanding the role of occupational therapy in the schools in general and provide additional information about some, but not all, of the areas in occupational therapy's scope of practice, including mental health, social-emotional learning, sensory processing, and handwriting. Many of these resources are utilized by teachers and occupational therapists in a co-teaching model. See the websites above for more information about how you can use these strategies in the future to help children and youth be successful throughout the school day. Occupational therapists promote participation in daily life activities or occupations and maximize the potential of students to perform daily school occupations and enjoy the school day. One example includes providing assistive technology to improve performance in classroom activities or intervention strategies to improve fine motor abilities, enhancing academic participation. Occupational therapists can utilize their specialized skills during the intervention process with students in the areas of sensory processing, mental health, or fine motor difficulties that may be interfering with the student's abilities to successfully participate in occupations. Other examples of how OTs may commonly intervene include helping students attend in class, engage in activities of daily living such as using the restroom or utilizing appropriate eating behaviors, or promoting play and leisure participation in extracurricular activities. Seek out the occupational therapist if you have concerns about students in any of these areas. Collaboration between occupational therapists, teachers, and education professionals will be vital to the well-being and success of students in the school environment. We encourage you to meet and work alongside the OT.